Neighbouring Turkey now, in 2016, Turkey witnessed a failed military coup. What followed was a state of emergency, and the country has been in that state ever since. The Turkish president, who successfully managed to thwart the attempt to dethrone him, is now moving to further tighten his grip on power, announcing early elections. President Erdogan not only caught his political rivals off guard, but also the people of his country. The question then is, how does it benefit him? How does he gain from an early poll? Our next report joins the dots.
When he took the stage to address a news conference in Turkey's capital, Ankara, no one expected to hear what they heard next. Catching his country by surprise, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan announced elections in June this year.
Seçimlerin 24 Haziran 2018 Pazar günü yapılmasına karar verdik.
More than a year ahead of schedule, the presidential and parliamentary elections in the country will be held on June 24th. The announcement came as a surprise, as Turkey remains under a state of emergency since the failed military coup of July 2016. Under the state of emergency, Turkish police have got additional powers and restrictions were placed on the rights of assembly. The likely constraint on campaigning could boost Erdogan's chances in snap elections. And given that many of the opposition parties are still undecided on their candidate, Erdogan only stands to gain. Add to that the backing he enjoys among his people. Erdogan has been riding a wave of domestic support for his decision to launch a military operation in Syria, aimed at dislodging Kurdish fighters along the Turkey-Syria border. Erdogan declared that it was the need of the hour to switch to the new executive system in order to take steps for the country's future.
Sizin geleceğine yönelik kararların daha güçlü şekilde alınabilmesi ve uygulanabilmesi için yeni yönetim sistemine geçiş giderek aciliyet kesbetmeye başlamıştır.
Early elections could mean that Erdogan could cement his grip on power a year in advance. The Turkish leader narrowly won a referendum last year to change the country's constitution and create an executive presidency. But the extended powers will only take effect after the presidential election. Turkey's next president will have the power to appoint the vice president, high-level judges, and even dissolve parliament. And early elections will clear the path for Erdogan to assume these powers in a matter of just 2 months. Erdogan has ruled Turkey since 2003, first as the country's prime minister and then as its president. In his 15 years in office, Erdogan has faced severe criticism for his authoritarian leadership despite transforming a poor country into a major emerging market. And now with the upcoming elections, Recep Tayyip Erdogan is looking to consolidate his grip on power. Bureau Report, WION.
Turkey has seen its fair share of turbulent times. The last year and a half has been a period of high tension in the country that was for a long time seen as a beacon of stability in the region. On 15th of July 2016, a faction of the Turkish armed forces organized themselves and attempted to overthrow President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was elected to power in 2014. Uniformed army soldiers tried to seize control of key places in Ankara and Istanbul. But the coup failed as common citizens poured onto the streets and confronted them. It was very dramatic. Armed with nothing more than kitchen tools, Turkish commoners stood up to the faction that was threatening democracy in their country. The coup was over within a few hours, but not before 290 lives were lost. More than 1,400 people were injured. 17 police officers were killed in a helicopter attack on the outskirts of Ankara, and 12 people were killed after a bomb was detonated in the parliament. The attempted coup made President Erdogan even stronger. Why wouldn't it? He'd just survived the greatest threat a government could face. But the celebrations were short-lived. 2016 was a year of decline and dismissals for his country. Tourism in Turkey took a hit. The country's currency took a nosedive. The economy slowed down as foreign direct investment hit a 7-year low. Adding to President Erdogan's troubles were the increasing internal security threats. Turkey is a victim of mainly two groups of terrorists, the Kurdish militia and the Islamic State. The third phase of the Kurdish-Turkish conflict began in 2015 after 2-year-long negotiations failed to bear fruit. Since then, tension has been simmering between the Kurdistan Workers' Party and the Turkish establishment. When the Islamic State bombed a rally of Turkish peace activists in 2015, Turkey was drawn into a renewed domestic conflict. The country's security forces have since launched a military campaign against the Kurdistan Workers' Party in the east and southeast. Turkey was initially hesitant to participate in the Syrian conflict, but as Kurdish militia increasingly worked with Syrian rebels to carve out their own territory, President Erdogan had to intervene. He couldn't stay away, and thus began the campaign to dislodge the Kurdish militia from the border shared between Turkey and Syria.